meeting of the Young County Commissioners Court, Monday, July 28th, 2014. It's 9:35. If it's convenient, I'll make note first that citation given, notice is given in time and in the manner required by law, and I'll make note that all commissioners, all members of the board are present. If it's convenient, please stand.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we so graciously thank you for this day. We thank you for the things that you have blessed us with. We ask that you give us some more rain. Pray for that. Lord, we ask that you stay with the troops, guide, pray them, protect them as they're overseas. We ask that you oversee us and let us do things in your will, in your way. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Item number 3, public comments, announcements, and presentations. The only thing I had noted on here is the interlocal EMS report, regular operating report. That was a little bit of, I think this interpreted. Got some revisions to that. They gave us the operating everybody else. I think all of them had that. I think we were probably a little five or sometime. Anything else? Item number 4. Consider county clerk minutes of previous meeting, July 22nd, 2014, on any additions, deletions, or corrections. So, have a motion by Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers, to accept those minutes as presented. All in favor? Financial report.
The books for Jan are balanced. We pay the debt service. And our balance in the debt service line is $234,368.59 after the payment. Our taxes are in June are about 90, almost 98%.
Questions for motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Wood, to accept the treasurer's report as presented. All in favor? Carried. Budget amendments, vouchers.
Vouchers. Total today is $35,148.80. And of that, $13,665.
Amendments. So moved. Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Wood, to approve the vouchers payable as presented. All in favor?
And I have a small bill,
This one's really small, $76.40. It's for a computer or something other for JP1 computer
Switch.
switch, $76.40. I want to take it out of JP Technology instead of their budget, and there's $38,000 in there.
So what is? Give me one.
JP. Purchase. Well, Eric ordered it off Amazon. You get it cheaper there, I'm sure.
So JP Technology Fund is separate from their budget.
Yes. That jail development, all those that I added, that's special.
We have a motion. Commissioner Wiley. Second, Commissioner Pruitt, to approve $76.40 paid out of the technology fund, JP Technology Fund, for a switch replacement. JP. All in favor? Here. Okay. Next, we've got a few people here. Next, we'll look over 15. We've got a budget presentation. DP, conditional attorney.
Yes. Commissioners, y'all have a copy of our proposed budget, I believe. It's page 18 on the one that we're filling out, and her account is 010476.
I'm not asking for any adjustments other than, for my employees, specifically my ADA and my administrative secretary. And when I talk about Carrie, her level of dedication and professionalism is just unmatched. And, she's worked in this office for over 12 years. 12 years here. The work that she puts in, the hours that she puts in, I mean, we prepare for trial, she spends, I don't know, 8 hours, in addition to her regular work time, 30 hours, preparing for these cases. Sometimes we stay awake until the night. She has a knowledge in that office that I don't think that you could gain by just coming in and working as cumulative knowledge from all the years that she's been in there. And I just feel as though she can do it right.
Question.
There's that. Two figures was a little 3%.
So I think that was on Ryan's rate, I went for 3%, just trying to stay a little above inflation. But I don't think it's unreasonable. I think if you look out the market for legal secretaries, you're going to find out that this is fairly competitive.
Is this employee benefit?
No. I think it takes some well, she gets a little bit of something. I can't count what's after Ryan. That would be a portion of her say. I'm just telling you, you could lose Ryan, you could lose me, and it would be fine. But if you lost Terry up there, that office would fall apart. She knows that office better than anybody I've ever seen, and what she does, I mean, she does an amazing amount of work up there. I think anybody can attest to that. And I think, yeah, and I just think that it's time to look at for something. And I know economic times are tough, but I believe that she's deserving of that. That's it. Well, for Ryan, I'm trying to keep up with what he's doing, right? And I think that he's done an amazing amount of work up there. I think that you'll find that the cases that we've used up there have significantly impacted the revenue that probation and court's office and everything else. And he gets a supplement. His salary is right at $60,000, and this would give him about 3%. 44 for health.
It's on the, computer, after I put that 7,500 next year. And on the copier, 1,800. It went up a little bit. All of the, data maintenance. 7,500.
Rest of the lines are unchanged.
That's correct.
Well, that shows 19,000.
I think we purchased some others out there last year, so. Because it wasn't all maintenance, I can pull that line, but I think that there were some other things that, oh, I know what it was that we got that grant for.
Yeah, we said we got a grant.
And we had to pay for it out this line, but then we got the money above it. Revenue funds.
What about the politics stuff?
We don't really spend that much on law books. Usually on legislative, it's a problem. Next year.
Next year.
Yes, year.
We're at $4,000 is the payment we make on the vehicle.
So we can drop all those to 1,000.
No, I don't think we did.
Good change.
Oh, could we?
Yeah.
For this year? We probably could. Terry, do you think we could go down from 1,500 to 1,000? Yeah, probably so. I think we increased it in the first year. It's in office so that we can get a lot of updated things that we didn't have. But I'm going to think about it.
1,000.
Yes.
Your time line. Don't equal your time line.
Let me ask you something, since I know that Charles is going to arrive, and it's going to transfer to the murder trial.
The murder trial is correct.
So, you don't think there'll be some more
Our hands.
So you don't have to look at
No, that's Andy's office.
Get some kind of update on that.
what's the expected time required?
So they say 5 weeks on jury selection, how long the trial will take, I don't know.
Any other questions?
That's not bad.
That's not. Like on this under consideration?
Okay, thank
All right.
you, I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Okay, we'll talk about 10 minutes. Let's, turning point, Chris Stevens, that's Liz, they serve the turning point member here. Liz Allen,
Some stats. We're asking to be placed on the county's budget for this next fiscal year. At this point already, we've served 77 clients from this county. Approximately 31 are referred to us from probation, 29 are referred to us from CPS for Young County. We've got about 18 or so that are self-referrals that come in from either doctors or coming out of treatment or something like that. It costs approximately a little over $1,000 per client for 6 months in treatment. Which that includes 42 groups and 63 hours of education to help prevent relapse, just life skills, things of that sort. So far this year, we've had 763 hours of individual counseling, 1,829 group counseling hours. 49% of our clients complete the program successfully. Out of that, 49%. Out of that 49% that complete successfully, 80% of them are clean, sober, 90 days after treatment is ended. Because I have to call them at 90 days as a follow-up. And 80% of those are still clean and sober. We have a lot of what we call administrative discharges. A lot of those is because they go to jail. We don't know how to, we don't always know when they go to jail. But just to help us stay funded and help us continue to do what we do, we're asking to be placed on the budget. We're asking for $20,000 a year to be able to continue to do this. You may know, we're completely solely funded by the community of Graham, and we get a couple of grants per year.
how much, what level of money do we bring in?
I got, like, last year we got $30,000 in grants, and then everything else was raised through our fundraisers.
No operators.
Last year our budget was $95,722. This year it's going up to $19,000, what it is this year.
And for the record, would you please say your name?
Christy Blue. Blue,
Blue.
just like the color.
Introduce your counterparts.
Our president, Justice Carr, fundraising is Darlene Young, and then our CFO treasurer is Debbie Stevens, and then Mike is here for Darlene.
Is this organization actually just a chapter under a broad? Is it an organization, US wide? Just a chapter under that? Or just an individual?
We're an individual organization, treatment facility for young for Young County. We just opened a facility in Breckenridge, and Breckenridge supports Breckenridge. No fund transfer. Part of our grant for this last year went to open that facility, but for Breckenridge to maintain and stay open, Breckenridge has to raise the money for that facility to stay open. Grant funds stay in the ground. We assumed the name of Turning Point in Wichita Falls. They were coming over here, and 12 years ago, they lost their funding. The board members assumed that name and started it here with no state funding.
This funding for NT.
North Texas Commission on Alcohol and Substance Abuse.
Christie, is there any follow-up at all after 90 days? So, what your success or 2-year success rate is?
No. DSHS only allows me to contact it 90 days after treatment is ended.
You ever had to repeat go through the program? So there's some lack of success after 90 days.
Yes.
The 49% successful rate, was that just program length?
Yes. That, I got that from the amount of clients that have completed or discharged the program as of this fiscal year.
And your fiscal year is,
Starts September 1st.
how does this differ from other programs this time?
The fact that we're nonprofit and we're free, we try to keep it that way because that's what keeps the clients coming in. Like we were doing anger management, we were charging $20 a session for anger management. Just because it costs so much for that certification. We stopped charging for that. We've had a lot more people come in for the anger management and they're sticking with it and they're doing it. That's the biggest difference. We use evidence-based materials. DSHS has certain things that we have to discuss. Everything else is just evidence-based.
Sports and I don't know if this is not often, but it has been.
Those ones are usually the ones that finish.
I can see that. So some, most of your others are either voluntary or some sort of intervention type situation.
CPS gets involved and they'll refer them to us and they have to complete our program to be able to get their children placed back with them. A lot of times if you go to inpatient treatment, they recommend that you do outpatient treatment for so long, so we get those referrals, and sometimes just people wanting something different.
Is CPS actively work?
Yes.
You just started on social.
I'm a licensed legal defense counsel. LCDC. Thank you.
That's what happened to Will.
Thank
Thank y'all. Anybody else have anything to say?
I'd like to make a quick comment.
Okay.
You're on. Great, well, good to be here. One thing I'd like to say, why I became affiliated with the Turning Point. Throughout my law enforcement career in King County, I've seen the devastation that addiction does. And, the Commissioner Pruitt, we've dealt with these people on the street. And any chance that we have to take younger people that are introduced to substance abuse, anything that we can do to discourage that at that level is a plus. And I've seen it work, and I know it can work. And what it does, if we as a community can provide this kind of service to our residents. It upgrades the community for one, because we're taking initiative to try to redirect these people, and try to change their behaviors and get them off the substances. And the more people we can do that, of course, the quality of life increases, which we all have an interest in. And, you know, I'd like to say that, man, it really lessens the burden on law enforcement, but it does a little bit, but we still have to make the initial contacts in law enforcement to get them redirected into this program. And I think it's an outstanding program for the county. And one thing that differs us from any program that's federally funded is if a person comes in and they want some faith-based counseling, we're good to go with that. And if we got involved with the federal government as far as federal funds, with the trend of the de-Christianization of our nation going on, we probably couldn't do that. We'd be told on how to treat these people and how to spend our money. You know, God could never come into it. And but that's all I have to say. But I appreciate y'all's time. And thank you for your consideration.
I'm more of a person. But I have seen the clients that went through Turning Point, and they do come and help with family. I do not know their names when they come through because it's private. But there's a few that has helped with the banquet for the last probably 4 or 5 years, and they're still doing very well. My way of thinking, if you had somebody that you loved and they had cancer, would you not get them to a treatment center? So that's basically the same thing that they fight against you. I don't know if everybody realizes that I put one of my sons in jail for a year, and he's been clean since 2003, and he makes very good money, married, got baby. So, this organization will be, because if we don't help, then it's just the same problem. I didn't know how to help. 2 is education. We also went to a school, a surrounding school, I won't say what school. There were some children who tested positive, and Chrissy actually went to the school because they requested that she come to the school. Just please consider in this organization. We really do. Thank you.
What does with this night?
I'm good, thank you, Judge. If I can say something.
Yes.
The program is an important piece of us getting our nation, state, and society back together. So that we don't need you to just sit there and hope. We need you to pray and take those prayers and turn them into positive actions. We need results.
Yes, sir.
Okay? We don't need to try anymore. We need to help these people. CPS is involved with way too many parents on drugs. Our child abuse and sex offenders are all based on drugs. Our crime, homicide, theft, burglaries, whatever, it's all based in crime and drugs. We need Turning Point to be an effective organization. And if we should choose to fund this, our taxpayers will want results.
Yes.
Okay? So I challenge you to increase those numbers of people you're helping. Somehow keep track and make certain that those people feel on a positive road, being positive contributors to this county and to this country.
Our goal is for Turning Point not to even exist anymore. That's what our goal
Work
is.
stuff out of work.
Yeah, that's what our goal is.
It's all a challenge.
That's really, I think y'all have some in the cities, or like only grant,
Not yet.
Not yet.
but y'all,
Yes.
you do it.
Yes.
So, I'd like to say, if we can make our way into local schools here, that would be a really big plus, because the years I spent working as a SRO in the schools here, there's a drug problem in Reagan with the young people. And the unfortunate part about it is it gets swept under the carpet. And if we go in and have the powers that be with the schools agree to us seeing some of these, or for the counselor to see some of these kids and get that positive reinforcement, along with the younger kids with the DARE program and all that, that's a very effective means also. But, we'd like to be able to catch them before we really have to deal with them as an addicted person. And, start young, that's the best way to do it. And we need to educate the parents also, because a lot of times, like Commissioner Seif said, all the parents on the roads. Well, and then CPS will turn the kids over to the grandparents that raised the parents that stepped in the first place. Like it's a vicious circle, and we gotta stop it. And I appreciate Commissioner Seif's mentioning prayers as the first line of defense. That's what we really need to go to first. It shouldn't be like, man, we're in up to our necks now, I guess we better start praying. I think we need to start praying first. I'm so privileged to be sitting in a public building in Young County, Texas, and be able to speak openly about prayer, and that's a vital part of what gets us clicking. So, yeah, we'll take the challenge.
Yes, sir. Could y'all keep us updated on the cities? You guys do. Pardon? Could you keep us updated on what the cities was? That's very good.
Yes, yeah, we can. How often would you like to report?
No,
I would refer that to the
no, just let us know.
technical stuff.
I want to know if they're going to give y'all anything too.
Well, my theory is that communication is, without communication, we can't do anything. And we've got to be able to communicate freely with y'all and keep things rolling. So,
If you wondered why I'm not saying anything, I promised before I come in here, I would not say a word.
I was curious.
What?
When did you promise that?
A while.
I don't get to honk the horn, and I don't get to ring the bell.
He did it anyway, didn't he?
When something goes wrong,
Darlene, just inform you that the city donates our building to us and pays for our electric bill. We don't pay any rent on our building, or we pay any utilities on it.
That's awesome.
Very good. We'll take that into consideration.
thank you, sir. Now, y'all made me say something. So if I get in trouble, I'm coming to y'all.
It's definitely fast for them. We have to do
You ready for the meetings? But I was wondering the same thing.
You can tell they do it without facing
So I have two different types of bids with the chip seal conversion.
You have two companies.
No, well, I have two companies, but I have two types because he did the week from so. But I only have one bid for the chip seal. I think until I open it because
That's disappointing. We sent out a lot.
we sent out a lot of letters.
I know.
Yes, and also.
And I actually had some contact me.
Did you?
They're like, what can we do it next year?
I think a lot of this is gonna be like roofing after a hailstorm. The 1747 runs on the street, everybody wants to first fly on the street. What's up?
If it does, an officer rating, if we don't get the bid on this, we've got 2 years to do this. And I don't think we should settle, we can get the bang out of the buck.
I agree with that too.
The first bid for the chip seals from Lipo Asphalt out of Asphalt.
And this first station.
It's LIPHAM. It doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
So we're gonna have LIPHAM, Lithium. If you look at your bids that are in the packet, this is option one, which was correct. This is how they did it, option one, option two. Okay. Quotation one, option one, quotation two, option two. Let me let you look through all these, as you pick out yours, I can't tell which. 48,458 square feet.
That's me.
Now here's your option 1 and 2 on this. 1.19 count miles to any road. And then
My heart just stops.
it's expensive.
See what I'm saying?
It's like, can you see?
I got the,
I think they're wrong.
I didn't even look at the price on this.
you get a little pain down there.
I'm very petty.
What would you expect?
Less than you. Well, I was hoping you had some competitors.
Well, and
Drive them down a little bit.
Lithium's
So
had
the
a
money
market
expense,
tax
and
of
they're all something, they'll bring in that money for it too. About 300,000.
I'm trying to figure this out. Counties, oh, okay. With me hauling rock, it's $170,087.58. With them hauling rock, it's $213,215.20.
Under check in,
I'm 170.
and that's on four,
That's with me hauling.
that's on 4.13 miles,
4.13 miles.
and that's 2 quarters.
So you're worth $48,000.
How wide is that road?
20.
$4.40 per square yard on one, $3.50 on the other.
Yeah.
Would you haul them around?
Yes. And that's how I was going to do it anyway. I'm wrong, but cheaper. Kind of.
Well, in a way, you know what? That's not bad.
That's not a bad price, $60,000 a month.
That ain't bad,
$40,000. And the trick being on that is the more miles you got, the cheaper it is. Because the equipment's nowhere to be there, that much of food. I don't think it's a bad price.
So you think it'd be cheaper with them hauling the rock?
No, what I'm saying is, the equipment that they have to do the job, they're doing more, it's called the Walmart theory. What you got to do,
Right. The cheaper.
yeah.
That's why it's
I'm talking about more about the way.
right. That's why I was almost hoping that we could all do it at the same time.
Good.
And I don't know if that they would say, hey, since we're all down here, we'll be off another.
We need to coordinate that effort and we get right together, then try to have a public meeting and we have to get everything lined up.
Yes, we know.
But that's the thing. Lithium will probably be maybe talking down a little bit more if we all said, and all of us, we did 5 or 6 months, right?
Right. So I've already got 4. You got 2. That's 6. And how many you got, Stacy?
I got 2 somethings.
10 miles.
10 miles.
You're right, it might not be.
You see, everybody knocking down some more. But that's gonna be the deal,
Let's
everybody
try
always
one.
keep on the same thing. 10 miles, 40,000.
Yeah, but trust me.
40,000, not a bad house for that, 2 horses here, she's
Yeah,
loving
that's right.
20 foot wide. That's right. Might even better a little bit of our limit. Up there. Yeah, this place I just put it too. Do your lobbying part.
You did it 2 miles like that.
Yeah, I need to do 2 miles and 5 miles. Yeah, you do that.
I agree with that. Both of these 4.
There's also ready.
Not like it, good hair. Brian's a good hair.
They just talk about
Too much cheese, yeah. That's what your brother
Stacy's the same. Stacy's number the same. What is yours?
This is 195.
195, 2 miles?
Well, that's just.
Same as where you are. 351 if you haul, 440. When do you want to start this stuff? Do you still want to?
Time change.
Did we put this in the office?
Oh,
Yes.
24th of August. I saw they had my 2 miles to do. Did you get ready?
But that's okay, we can get you ready and you guys here.
We'd be happy to share our new machine with you to get your ready. No problem.
I'll have to go. Rick got on there and get it done.
I think we could probably, have a big climb. Leave it up to it, it's 2 miles. Ready to go. It was September 1st, I think better. Another week.
What he's saying is to be as good to that point. But if we accept the bid.
Except the 24th.
Do whatever. Correct?
Whenever he can schedule it.
Yeah.
Why don't we just work 361, 361, together, get a run together so we can get this company. So we got 205. 205 is our national line here.
And it will cost us, what?
205 was all fancy big amount to spend on the 1730 project.
I thought it was 250.
15 maybe. 665,000.
205,380, I believe.
205,380.
Yeah.
What do you think?
we're just gonna look.
Because Stacy went over with his and wanted his actual numbers to come through, which was 216,540.
That's why I say it's 205.
We're getting 160 something each. 163 and 41. Do it full.
So figure right at 3,500. Is it 40 or 60 now?
No, nothing.
I'm probably gonna do,
That's with the bank.
what I was talking about doing anyway, is I was just gonna see how much the load was, probably half that.
Okay.
If I get do half this time, half that.
How much is your rock company?
The rock,
Yeah, this ain't counting the
I don't
rock.
know, I was actually gonna, after I got this, I was gonna send it to, first year for Zach.
Mark.
Mark,
Yeah.
and see what he's on.
This doesn't create what, base rock?
No, 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 no,
No,
chip rock.
I didn't
That includes chip rock. That's on top of it.
Right. This is turnkey for $213. But we do it nothing.
And the other was $43,000 more.
170. What now?
Rock will cost you $43,000.
I would think.
I don't think so either. I bet you look at
All
it.
this.
It's not down there.
You can figure that, if I did just that's what it is for charging, yeah, but if it's 35,000, it might be worth it. Let them do it.
That's 16,000.
What is it?
That rock.
I think that rock is $34 a ton.
30 hours.
I mean, it's
I'm not sure about it.
pretty expensive.
34.
Well, look, we're talking about chip rock.
34.
Yeah.
Guy used out there for pothole patch all the time, I can't remember, he had to turn in those receipts.
I would say. It depends on if you come in or other company.
How much rock will 1 ton go? How much road will 1 ton go?
Not gonna go by.
110 square.
That'd be 10 by 10. So that'd make it 10 foot wide, 20 foot, 10 foot long, just so wide.
That's, 2 tons, right, 20 foot, I mean, 10 foot, 20 foot road. No,
No, it'd be 1 ton there, 10 foot.
10 foot.
Yeah. That'd be pretty easy to figure. That's just on one course, that's 250, you know, just. It'd be 2 tons if it's 2 courses.
I think Mark was in here.
Yeah.
I asked him what that meant.
Yeah, it's very good.
This way is not saying you're good. Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Shows what you hold.
70 miles out here.
2 mile road.
That's another
Then you're fine.
And you got that bill there, what did you? You might get that bill and see, ask Kathy if she can get it.
Okay, it's the one
That
that
is,
you just turned in for
Say
chips.
grade 4.
right before the washer on.
Okay.
Did you say 100?
10 square yards per ton.
That would be different, just more than 10 foot.
A little over the ton. 1.1 ton. $10 a ton.
In order now.
Same thing.
Plus that
It's
extra
not
coating.
that decision.
$48.
Thank you. there a worksheet somewhere you plug in numbers in? Part, got it. He got you right to take
What
what
you
you
honestly do is when you do this in a notebook, where you can go back. That's how we
Actually, all this stuff.
sometimes write about it. It's kind of
36,000 grand.
College year, and then,
like, so,
Take it back. I think it's taken better on 85 times.
that's 4 miles.
Times 28.
13,600
It went, that's all.
That's per mile.
That's not per mile.
Is that per mile? No, that's for 4 miles.
So yeah, you are saving money by driving.
Doing this stuff.
But it would be.
Here's the good thing, you got a insurance that costs $43,000, you can charge C-Terms on your bid. For the cost of the home. But you got something to verify.
So with the rates that we're gonna charge per hour and for your equipment, is it gonna be,
That $43,000, whatever the difference between the two bids.
Yeah, and John's trying to tell the new rates of the day, but I did find online 2010 new rates. Here's 2008, so they're a little bit better.
Yes, and we need to keep in mind, those FEMA rates were suggested ways to do that. There's other ways, but they need to be certifiable, and this bid would be a certifiable method.
it would be clean?
It would be much cleaner than you.
So I appreciate it.
It's done very much.
Like,
Oh, y'all think about that going away?
That's what we have.
this will be it.
This is for the other bid that we're gonna open at 10:15, this is for reclamation.
See what I told you?
Estimated total $180,581.80.
Got cheap for that. How much?
$180,000. Oh, I'm sorry, it's from Rock Solid Stabilization.
How much does it cost to see it?
Stabilization. They're out of Greenwood.
They travel. They have trucks and they travel.
You gotta go where the roads are.
You can't tell what I do. They've been up North Dakota. Our family.
They were on like your copies.
They like her.
I mean, y'all need to get those back in their copies of all those bids for January.
Yeah, I like that topic.
But then you chips in.
I like that. Okay. Well, and I was appreciate that was in my road. And I wasn't I mean, that's why. I thought it was like 260. Wasn't it? But we did.
Let me go to people would.
I'm just gonna hang out.
We asked them to do an additional 2 miles, my road, we can put it up and do it.
Well, when we advertise, we just list a certain amount. So if it's cheaper, we do these bids all together, so yeah, if you want it.
I think it might say.
So, I'm so good or cheaper to do.
So interesting. They're like, yes, we love it.
But you might need to do it.
So that, yeah,
I tell you, whatever I do, man, costs me time.
we
Call
got
back and say, hey, where did you turn the bid?
both,
Those numbers, don't you feel that way?
these two both came in on Friday, but I mean, it was, you know, they hand delivered, well, this one was FedEx, but this one was hand delivered on Friday.
Give me those numbers that I paid. They were really interested. Well, we don't have to accept it. It's good. None of their price like
So maybe when we can,
But don't you think? No, of course, residents.
Yes.
That was.
Experience. Available, right? Right, single. Might get here. It's a good thing to do. Not keep 5, 6 years.
What was my truck? Okay, no.
Two quarters, you put the second on there, it just says right there. Two quarters, it's a rock base.
This is bullet truck. There is also that. It's that up. Since.
you did a single course first. So you'd have been better if you'd have done another course, maybe you would.
That's why you have to experience people like you to say, how would you do that?
And you learn from it.
Yeah. Also, make a difference. Travel the road.
On the application, second.
White roses, surprisingly. Yes.
Freeway out there.
5, 7
I suppose this is another check.
It's Tommy.
That's why But I already started on the CTR stuff on it. We can put hot mix and stuff, some really, really bad parts of the do.
See, the deal is on the chip seal, if you don't get it, it's smooth.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what we're trying to do.
Because it's gonna be the same mold that will be there whenever you chip seal. That's kinda like what we want to go in there and reclaim everything.
Yeah, I
Put
just
a
think
little rock in it
now what you just said.
and recrown it, and get it prepared so that whenever it's done, it's done. If we can go in there and put some stabilizer in it, to stabilize that rock and keep the moisture getting out of it. See, that's what clears up the chip seal,
But
right?
it's probably a lot cheaper.
If you go in there and get a crack in it, water gets in there, winter time it freezes, it's what first pop, that's what first making it pop.
That's gotta be cheap. Reclaim it, stabilize on it, and just exercise.
You saw the rig.
Now, mine's $30,000.
Our meeting with our committee. If we ever get our meetings, supposed to be having us with this. About
Even on the way, we'll send out letter.
Kind of work that.
Their airport gives us another bid.
Market there.
Light here, might be.
Because if we can't get those next round, I just kind of dropped the ball. Okay, what's the story on our vehicles?
I'll make a decision this year.
We negotiated with him for the 4 more miles. That didn't put out the bid, or we just negotiated with him.
No, I believe if these bids are accepted, I think we'll negotiate with the party.
Yeah, give us what's happening, because they say, talk about it.
We're gonna have one August 4th. Take it
I'll wait next one. I'll say that.
Let's see if it makes a difference. Never heard it. It is. Do it. And I might do some of the town up, or a little bit right there in town. Might have a little bit to
We're talking to Barry Deal, National Hoover, possibly.
Yeah, we've got a motion, Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Trent, to table acceptance rejection of bids until August the 4th. All in favor? Here.
let them take them up.
Then on the 11, you said you rejected that statement, and just back with it up. I'll say.
All in favor?
Yes, right.
Just like,
Do you want to do the boiler maintenance from this bid?
Item number 8, discuss and consider carrier water maintenance contract for agreement.
We have 3 down there instead of 1 now, and I think we've talked about getting a maintenance program on that. On the front page, it tells you what all they'll do in this maintenance, and I asked him how often that they would come and do this, and he said probably once a year right before we use it. And and to my understanding, I did talk to them, it's them providing the chemicals that go in there, cleaning the screens out. So I think there's 3 screens now instead of 4.
Flushing the system.
flushing it out. He said that Charles Beeman, that does our cooler maintenance now, will be the one coming and probably come once a year, for it would probably take him 2 days to do everything. The price on that was $2,570.42. You know, I looked, our chiller maintenance is $2,800 a year, and that we pay quarterly, and I think they come quarterly to check it out.
It says including that, taxes.
We won't be taxed. We don't pay tax. And if y'all wanna see something different,
Talking, discussing about this, I believe that we, or at least I kind of interpreted that.
Well, when I talked to him about it, I talked to him in our office at the same time. He said the reason we don't get to do it 2 times a year is because it's not gonna be used that often. It's only gonna be used about 3 to 4 months out of the year. And he said if it was normal, like you do, use it at home, or it's used all the time, every day, it'd be a different story. But the fact that you're gonna have the conditioner and water and everything, and just be sitting there, it's not that big a deal. Time of year, is that?
of course, anytime we have a problem, we get a, we call them, that's not part of the
It's not like it's a one maintenance trip, 2-day visit if necessary. And providing all.
all the chemicals, labor.
They sit in there and call them after hours, it's after hours charge, overtime, and all that stuff. We'll wait till the next day.
For December, because we were trying to coming back in November.
He said he'd come down here, get some work tools now,
Right.
fire them all up, test them all, and everything.
It's just you're not.
What repairs?
So this, it needs to be the carrier dealer.
Then to let people install and do it, then. Better deal, I think. He does seem like.
I don't know if that's because there's 3 others.
Yeah, you got to do all 3 of them.
So how do you tell us too high?
You know,
Now, I tell you,
I mean, how do you tell whether they're just holding us up because we're using them, or was that the going rate?
I understand why.
and also if you look there,
Without competition, the rate would be whatever the service provider says.
We're going to like this agreement with who it is that we purchase the system.
and it is through buy board, so it has, you know, through buy board, you have to get through that.
So this is, so I just say, now, if it's reasonable and customary, doesn't seem reasonable, but now it sure seems customary.
this guy comes out of Wichita, or he's got
Stop loss.
Oh, it said Fulton City.
Well,
He, now he
That's
comes,
wrong.
the maintenance guys out there.
service. And I can say Charles has been doing service here.
Yeah. And I told Dustin that this, if we sign this, that there's no way Charles could retire.
Well, I don't doubt it's all in the service.
Yeah.
It's the cost of the service.
Is there one day inspection?
Well,
Here, 2 days to do
necessary.
He estimated it would take 2
It's
days.
like IBM repair.
$1,400 a day. With my own business, Mike.
Well, I know when he came and had to flush that out before, he was here a long time, that's when he went and had to go, to
Yeah.
do all that. But that,
December, January.
that's when they shut down, we had no cooling.
Right. in the beginning of the year.
He had to flush it
I
out.
really don't leak it down there on the 31st.
That's when he was cleaning those screens and flushing that out. But
Anyway,
he had to go buy vinegar to flush it. But also they put some kind of chemicals in his acid.
do you remember what that cost was for that video?
No, but I can find out.
I think it's not,
Okay.
Pretty expensive up there, right?
I think we must see.
because it was pretty in-depth, like,
Yeah.
thing.
Let me go.
That'd be a comparison to what we're talking about.
Yeah, I can go pull that and we can see how much that you want to take a break.
This is an annual expenditure.
Yes, and it's something that, like I said, we can budget for it because we won't pay for it until after.
Yeah, he did, he stayed down there, grabbing the ball, with anxiety. There's a little bit of gas, getting low gas pressure. Like that, we have done, tries 3 or 4 times. I had on that 4th time or something like that, then it goes in.
Probably what it did.
Stacy's the one that says.
Okay.
Stacy's the one that says.
Yeah, we're going to recess about 5 minutes.
It flushed and it was an emergency flush clean out. We had it come down and I sent the invoices for January. The cost of that trip was $2,403. That's one trip. That's them flushing it and everything. So what I'm saying is, maybe that maintenance does look high, but if you have them come down and do it. The
Was
trip.
an emergency trip likely to happen?
2004. Well, we shouldn't have it because that's what they had to do was flush it out. The maintenance, they would be flushing it out. The trip was in the labor, 16 hours of labor at $110, $1,760. So,
Often do some trips.
yeah, I think he came that one day and he had to come back the next. So that was 2 days. But anyway, just to,
That's what that was bill is due for, it's gonna be 2 days.
Well, that was,
but if that flushes, what it was that those little screens, and that's what he's gonna do is keep it flush where those little screens won't get, and now each one of them, that was one, when we had one boiler and one screen was plugged
that's
up.
the one we want.
That was the one boiler that we had. So, whatever you think, if you wanna look at something different, I can ask him. Look at something different.
We already pay on a problem we hadn't had yet versus paying a whole lot on a problem we may have.
Insurance.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Let's see what you're. All right. Good, but you're paying too much for it. Don't hear from everybody.
I make one if we go ahead and accept it based on what we already see.
I'll say.
Go from there. Announcement, get you.
It's insurance.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, and second by Commissioner Pruitt, to accept the maintenance agreement from Carrier Corporation for preventive maintenance as stated at $2,570 for 6. That's an action, correct? All in favor? Carried.
Here's a good statement, turn it down.
Number 9, discuss and consider setting 2015 sheriff and constable fees. Charge of worship service. Discussion part of that.
They're pretty well looked at out there, like cheaper, and what some of them are, and I'm looking good. They didn't change it.
I've left it fine. Barry went through there, comparing that, don't see anything change.
Make a motion, we just check the man in.
On these fees, are they correct?
Excuse me, on the Young County one,
That's what they said.
that,
Not on the same, that was.
Everything.
Yes, it's a journal.
Okay, what's it, what's it higher?
Yeah, it's on the third side.
Okay, what it needs to be
I thought it was like 8.
I know there's $5 for jury fee, is that the fee?
No, she said that changed last year.
Huh?
She said it was a mistake. What's
It's A.
That's what I was thinking.
I'll make that motion, I'll rescind that, and make a motion. We change it, jury fee from $5 to $8.
There's not a writ of execution.
Oh, what?
A writ of execution. Sometimes I just think all other writs or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking probably your writs of 200 is probably 200. Use your tactics going into this question.
All of them do that.
Should be the same price as your written package. $200, yeah.
And that jury fee, that is once a person requests a civil jury trial. That's what they want to put in that jury fee. That's all.
Set up. We won't set up all other bids or specific renovation.
It needs to be added to it.
Then we added to it.
It does, because they'll do your writs and execution and a lot of things.
Stevens County is 200 too.
I just say all writs 200. All other writs 200.
That,
In 2011, the jury fee was $22.
Jury fee.
Yeah, so. I mean,
I think.
It says it's listed under,
$6, $34.
Several counties don't even list them in the execution.
You can just put all of the records in, right?
you have, we're required to have that posted at the front door of our office.
One doesn't count as even having on
well, that doesn't make sense, because we've always done writs and
Does
execution.
it have, does it have,
stop all the.
does it have something with all
They
of the
have
writs?
to call it something else than
Or just in the jury.
Good execution is about $200.
Yeah.
Stevens County too.
Will Barker doesn't have one. Yeah, they.
Stack's got hers, it's $200 also.
It's one of the most important, the written execution.
It's cheaper in Madison County.
They don't even listen.
It's real cheap in Ariana County.
They must not do yours.
They don't do everything.
Should we use theirs?
It's hard to
execution.
We still have.
Yeah, right here, execution, that's not that too
That right,
It's on here. It's 300. Yeah.
well, it's on this one.
Right.
It ain't on this deal here.
Okay.
Oh, we got. Where's these come from?
That's the one that the sheriff posts to the website. That's ours.
We all buy it.
Now we look at theirs.
The sheriff.
But it's short for
We didn't get all the young county. That problem. That's the problem, part of the office. This is
Sir? That is our meeting. This is what the sheriff posted to his website.
Did you do it all over time? She'll do it on the.
Yeah, sure. All this.
It was a meeting, this was.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on the.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure. Execution order, setting it down.
You know, no risk execution.
But
It's just all service records.
One is for all. You know what I'm saying? It's a less than 3.
So we won't add to this all over it.
it's on there, but it ain't on here.
It's on
It's on the
the
deal.
sheriff's website. Eric, you have control of that. Fix it.
Pardon?
You have control of the sheriff's website?
Yes.
I thought you did.
Fix it.
Fix it.
What seems to be the issue with that?
The jury fee and also writ of execution.
Just put all other writs, or all writs, $200.
We're adding all other writs to the
Okay.
sheriff's and constable's fees, and we're modifying the jury fee from $5 to $8 a fee. Okay. Got that down, this clerk? Okay. That motion was by Wiley, second by Pruitt. All in favor? Carried. Okay, consider amending rule of area jurisdiction for septic inspection. Marshall, you come up here and give us a little detail on that.
Well, basically what we're doing, we're amending the order. We had to add a little section B, if you'll look in, under section 6. Before we just had A and the TCQ wants all the counties to make this little B amendment. These rules shall apply to those incorporated cities or towns that have executed intergovernmental contracts with Young County, Texas.
And this is a recommended change that came from our
Yes, PCQ.
regional director.
Yes. Every county's having to amend this, their order. The TC.
You vote that down. Gary. We'll do what you want.
Lots of rule changes, and we'll be coming back probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. The judge and I are gonna try to get all the interlocal agreements updated and refreshed, and we've got a little work to do on that, so we'll have this to go with them.
They can tell us to
Right,
order or an agreement with NRCC as a authorized agent. I've looked at that agreement.
right. But this is our first step, so we needed to get this amended and turned back in, and then we can bring everything else up to. They're changing the rules on us all the time, so it's just a constant.
That's TNRCC.
Yeah, but which no longer exists now, TCEQ,
Yeah.
Well,
which this order will, says now that always says TCEQ also.
I'll move that we, update and modify our order adopting rules of York County, Texas for on-site sewage facilities
Okay, sir.
as prescribed in exhibit. Add section 6,
Adding
B. All in favor? Aye. Carried.
Who seconded that?
Good. Item number 13,
I did not get that contract, and, but it is approved. They said it's gone through, it's approved, it's their lawyer's opinion drawn up, and I'd like to table it till I can.
okay, we haven't got him here yet. So we're gonna bypass.
Okay.
No action at this time.
Have you got that order we signed? You got the order we signed, changing of that amendment? Do we have the order, do we have to sign to change that amendment?
Yes, should have it there.
The clerk should have the original.
There.
Very back in.
Move for,
Yes.
absolutely.
Sorry.
Lauren, come on up here. Mayor.
Waiting for my name.
Okay, item number 14 is to discuss, consider part contract. Lauren Sullivan, our election administrator, is going to then Trigger.
Okay, we have a verbal agreement offer, whatever you want to call it. Yes, with Ector County for $175,000 for all of our equipment. To be delivered kind of in stages. I talked with Hart and I talked with Ector County this morning about this, but Hart is telling us, based on their certification, there's no good timeline. It's up to the feds and the state as to when everything will actually go live. So I talked with Missy this morning and she said, we can work that out. That's not an issue. And so my plan is to go ahead and start looking at changing to both centers for the May 2015 elections so that we can cut down on our number of equipment we've got to have and we can send part of our stuff on over to Edward County. And then when we get the rest of our equipment in, we can exchange the other half-ish amount of it. So we still have a quote from Hart for $335,000, $798. I have a prettier quote that shows all the right dates and all the right information. I had to fix that one there last week, so I didn't get that in your packets. But that's where we sit.
Okay, quote Margaret?
335798.
It's $160,798.50.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did that old equipment cost us?
260,000-ish. Best I can come up with through the records.
So we're getting over better than 50%.
Let me make a statement of where I've been and where I've came to. When we first talked about this, $335,000 worth,
$345.
$345 for the new voting machines, the voting machines that were still servicing the county was not something I desired to do. But through the work and efforts of Ms. Sullivan, and quite frankly, the market conditions that are out there for these machines that we have, it seems like an optimum and opportune time to change the voting machines in Young County and go to these higher technology. Once these machines hit the market, our machines will no longer be worth $175,000. Ector County is a particular customer for that because they have the need to try to extend the cost of the use of their machines and the cost. But they've got a lot of machines that was supposed in Ector County. Gentlemen, the agreement that Hart is asking us to sign is a commitment to that price and those conditions, and we still have the condition that says it has to be funded in our budget. So I see no reason why we should go ahead and execute this agreement with Hart for these machines at this juncture with these conditions in place now. The only reason I'm saying okay to this, Sullivan, is because you carried $335,000 to $160,000. Okay, and when you consider what we've been doing for management upkeep on the old machines, and take that from what the price of the new machine will be,
Doesn't change the budget a whole lot.
it's all right in line with the theory of leasing equipment, trading it every 3 years or whatever, get it long before it breaks down. So,
We will, what's your name? Cheryl. Cute blonde. We talked about, payments will change a little bit because we're not gonna try to finance that first year's worth of licensing and support. And so, I think that may increase my budget by about $10,000.
That was gonna be my next question is, what's gonna be our budgetary outlay annually and for how long?
It looks like $50,000 should service us for the next several years. Unless something changes that unless something changes that I'm not ready to at this point.
That's in that line.
I think the last meeting where you guys looked at my budget, we tentatively put $40,000 in there before we realized that we were still financing the $10,000 worth of service charges. So $50,000 for the next 5 years.
I agree with Michael on one thing. Lauren has worked really hard, did a very good job of what she did. I've heard from the taxpayers who come to my house, and I've talked to them on the street, they're not behind this, and I'm going to support my constituents and go with what they want me to say, and that's going to be done.
I think though, and I've talked to some of the constituents also, not only here, but in the Allen area. And they're basing theirs on the fact of the $300,000 we get it. And once I've explained to them the ins and outs of the deal, then it makes a different story to it. I think, in my opinion, we're looking after the taxpayers' money. Because if we wait till this deal goes, this new thing comes in, our deal's not gonna be worth what it's worth today. So instead of coming up with $160,000, we'll be coming up with the new charges, and it's gonna be added on top of it. Say it's $1,000 per unit. You're looking at another closer to $450,000 that we have to come up with.
But you're saying there's $160,000 that we're going to be getting into since nobody else has this system yet.
Here's,
That's what I'm working
well, here's my deal. If the state runs this through
And that's,
stringent test, if it doesn't work, then it's on the state's back.
on. It's gonna be on our back for $160,000.
No, everything is sold. It won't have anything to sell us. Then our deal is null and void. You see what I'm saying?
How do you know what 2 years is gonna be as good as they? I just hear all of it.
I think the likelihood is that they're not being certified is minimal.
You look at this exactly like you do a computer. A computer, they're doing everything they can to make them better than what they did the year before, correct? New improvements. That's what the computer, that's what this kind of world is today, is if you can increase it, make it better, make it more faster, make it more efficient, that's what they do.
But the market is substantially quite different.
Yeah, the market for election equipment is much different
Well,
from your iPads.
it's like what we talked about before is, it'd be different if you had 10 companies making this, but you don't. You have really 2 companies, and one of them's so much higher than what Hard is, it's not even in the ballpark.
And less technology.
And if you do an average, you probably got more people on Hard than you do anybody else. So the reputation follows. That's just my opinion.
My opinion is the resale value of our old equipment. I mean, we're recouping half of what we get for 10-year-old equipment, which is a positive. 2 years from now, it's gonna be worth 0. Is what they explained to us, was Lauren, her research has done. 2 years from now, it's 0. So, you know, it's a lot of money, 160,000, but 2 years from now, it's 475,000.
But I can't see Baker County buying $175,000 worth of stuff over 2 years is going to be good.
But that's,
No sense.
honestly, I mean,
That's just
stupid
stupid.
to replace the whole system.
Yeah.
About $2 million. They're
Yeah.
piecemealing and band-aiding it to get 2 more years.
It gets 2 more years.
I just don't think, I think it'll be around for 2 years. If Hart's still selling the equipment, I'd say
And if it's one of this 2,000 base, I don't see how to prolong the life of these.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna, I mean,
I was against spending this money too.
Yeah.
Until you couldn't give us $175,000 trade amount. I mean,
and that is.
you've done good work, but no.
Yeah.
But now that you've done, now that you've done this, and that, the real plus here is what our equipment is worth to Ector County.
Yes.
And I think that puts us in a position where we can obtain new voting equipment to take us another 10 or 12 years.
For less money than it cost us to begin with when we first bought the new equipment.
We're spending basically 6 or 7 years worth of maintenance costs to buy a whole new system.
Yes.
You know, I don't like the way things are good either, so.
I don't either.
But at this price, it's difficult to pass it up to the taxpayers. And they expect us to spend their money wisely, and I certainly didn't think $335,000 for a new system this time was a wise expenditure, but I think we're certainly evolving.
that's a pretty good price tag.
That's still a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I've never debated
What
that.
was your maintenance on those old machines last year?
So far this year, we've spent $20,000 and that included our license support. I have not
50
seen
you just
it.
mentioned is going to be including licenses.
That's correct.
No, you're still gonna pay for it. You're still paying for it.
Still paying for what?
The license and stuff.
Yeah, that's,
It's out of 50.
it's out of that 50,000.
For 10 days worth of work, they're going to charge you $20,000.
So this being budgeted in that 50.
Have y'all actually talked to a finance company on this deal yet?
I'm sorry.
You actually talked to a finance company on this?
I haven't, I didn't know exactly what the total was gonna be, but now if I have a total, I can, I mean, however you wanna do it, I mean, we can even come out with bids on financing it.
that will be out here.
So it
I have several of our financing companies in competition and have good better rate.
You gonna make that motion?
I will.
Fine.
Did we execute our contract based on the offer from Edgar County?
Execute our contract and also accept the commitment.
That's still subject to budget approval.
Yes.
Good job.
I like the road underneath me, please don't come back.
I don't mind telling you, you're swimming upstream pretty hard.
They do know it's as is.
Yes, and I
It's
provided
in the
that,
contract.
yeah, they've not seen that contract, I wanted to run it by you guys and make sure that was what you liked, as far as wording went. But yes, they do understand that this is what we've got and there will be no,
Everybody needs to go.
yeah, it's there.
And I want to congratulate the whole Commissioners Court here for engaging in this,
Yes, and
in this whole thing, because we gave her several marching orders and we didn't know if we'd ever see her again or not. And she's continued to come back with positive news and.
And I appreciate you guys not,
That's
going
okay.
home, you know.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Probably.
no, I'm not mad at it. I'm sorry.
When will this be fully functioning and then the first collection?
That's,
2015.
as of Friday afternoon, Ken, the original salesman that came in to talk to us, said it could be as early as November, so 15th. But that realistically, firing it all up and getting it in the first election maybe in 16. Which is what I'm trying to avoid, but we're at the mercy of the feds, so
So we don't have to pay for them to do anything until we get them.
can we get them here?
It may be next.
We just need to keep Edgar County moving.
And they are, and she and I talked this morning, like I said, and she's in court right now.
She knows we're going to continue to use these for our elections until they
Yes,
take
she does, and so, you know, I'm planning to maintain them like we always would until we do transfer them, so.
And like, Chris, heavy blood shit, I sure didn't want.
I've been praying a lot.
I'll get back to anybody else on the team.
We're,
I'll second that.
I wonder if we can go 3, 2, 4, 1. Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing I've got written down here.
What was it on there?
Motion by Commissioner Sykes, second by Judge Bullock, to accept Hart Intercity's pricing quote of $335,798 for voting equipment, and accept the commitment of Ector County at $175,000 for Young County's current equipment delivery upon receipt of new system.
Okay, is that new election equipment actually 325?
335.
335.
That's the first year of the license being added.
Right.
So
The price quote we have in it does have the first year's worth of,
actual equipment is 325.
Judge, would be less than that because it's 10-4.
On that motion,
So that's all included.
and subject to final budget approval.
and
I'll do that equipment at 325. Unlimited license.
well, but
That's
this would lock us into that
3-year contract.
license being 10-4
3 years.
per year.
1 year or 3 years?
the warranty is the 3 years.
Well, actually, you can get the trade.
Oh, heavens.
Another quest.
That one's trouble.
We added to that or modified motion is subject to final legislation. You always gotta leave something.
He's back door almost everything.
That's right.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
But do y'all understand, we need to, with finance, we just need to finance.
We need to pull that
325.
Yeah, not the other.
Right.
Because that license fee needs to be.
Because it's gonna be a reoccurring thing every year. So,
Every year, and don't we put that in the
Don't
finance?
need to be paying interest on it.
Well,
put it on the budget
it's
somewhere.
gonna be a matter for the audit.
Right.
And we can just put it on the line where we pay the maintenance, but
And that's where we had it, it's in the maintenance
we'll
line.
just leave it there, just add 10,000 to what y'all agreed to last week.
1040.
Yeah.
And they've got some price quote here that we're working down and accepted it. That would be a auditor to need to make those numbers accordingly with regard to the licensing
Right.
fees. Any further discussion? Vote for vote anyway. All in favor?
Nay.
That's gonna be one,
Sorry, Tim. I do appreciate your input though. It makes you, it makes for a stronger argument.
You did a good job.
It's all on there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the financing on
We're
this,
gonna send you all the.
Okay, I'm used to it. There's the agreement for Ector County and the agreement for,
Here's the agreement right there. Sorry, it's a color.
mine's in color. I think the only thing at the bottom is your say purchasing, or does it say Ector County itself?
County signature.
Yeah, let's use that one then.
do we want to go out for bids on the pricing, or just we call around and tell everybody what we have, how much we have, what it's for, and see what kind of interest rate we can get?
Well, we're still looking at 16. Probably, right?
Well, the delivery, if the contract is contingent that we pay within 30 days of delivery. Delivery could be in 15.
Late 15, early 15, 5 or something.
I would say very end of 15.
Very end of 15.
So sometime after January.
Speak.
See, there's no need to make it,
15,
getting the load until we figure out this deal.
Well, we kind of, if we're gonna have to make a payment in 15, we kind of need to see what we need to put in the budget. Are we gonna make a payment in 15?
That's, it really depends on the bids. I mean, I would go ahead and budget for 15 because
Budget of some sort.
I'm thinking we would probably get it sometime in August or September, and that would not give me time to get it ready to go for the November election. So,
Yeah, but you, so we're gonna finance like 161,000.
Done that properly.
so you're happy out
We'll go.
And for us.
He did a good job.
Thank you guys very much.
Road a long ways.
With a lot of help, so thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, we get back into our, budget workshop. Is there any, Ms. Auditor, is there any more requests or items or departments, things that we should need to go over?
No, I mean, we can, like, the district judge didn't turn in anything different.